Hey everyone, today is September 18th, 2025. We are traveling the logging roads of northern Ontario to Long Lake. We're going to try to get as close to the water as possible, park out here somewhere on the logging roads. We're going to carry our kayaks to the water. We're going to try to get to Bald Head Island. We're going to see how close we can get to it. You see here they've built these gigantic piles of debris to try to prevent wildfires. I don't think they're using these logging roads at the moment. There's no evidence of heavy trucks going through here. You'd see it kind of flattened out and packed down. But there was warning signs at the end saying these are private roads. You're allowed to use them at your own risk. If you damage your vehicle on these horrible roads, it's not their fault. So I plotted a dirt road out here and Google Maps won't take me to it. So I plotted something that it will take us to. And by using Google, I'm going to try to go beyond that point because I think the roads will connect. But some of these roads, there could be bridges missing, all kinds of stuff because they're not public roads again. The maintenance on these roads is only good enough to get lumber out of here. So it's not suited for travel by the public, so we gotta have to find our way through, figure out what roads actually still connect, because Google Maps will tell you a road is there and it could be literally nothing. Check this out. All the tamarack trees are starting to turn. Those are pine trees, but they're not evergreen. They're gonna drop their needles. Look at that big rock. Not driving the truck today. I'm driving my old car just because it's more fuel efficient. It's also hooked up for kayaks. My truck has never been hooked up for kayaks, although I've strapped them to the roof. I just don't like doing that. We're making quite the dust storm because even up here we're in a drought. Seems like the whole East Coast, even up to here, is all drought. Everything's dry. We're going to see how low the lake levels are, except it seemed pretty normal by the road. This is a very big lake. If we would have parked at the main road, we probably would have had to paddle 12 hours to get out here. That's why we're trying to drive most of the distance. And tonight might hit the freezing mark out here. Might be a cold camp out on the island. Might be kind of cold too out in the open. Might be windy. This looks like a pretty interesting island. It looks like the middle of it is a rock pile, possibly a small hill or mountain. But it's small enough, the island, that we could probably explore it in a couple of hours. Let's just see how long it's going to take us to get out there. These logging roads are actually in pretty good shape. Right now I'm going 45 miles an hour, or about 70 kilometers an hour. The weather's nice, 54 degrees or about 12 Celsius, but it will get a lot colder tonight. The road is still for the most part smooth. We're encountering a little bit of erosion, almost the spot right there that we're gonna bottom out on, but it looks okay. There's no rain in the forecast. This shouldn't mud up. In the next minute or so, we're gonna hopefully take a left that is on the map. Directions won't take us down there, but it looks like a road that's gonna get us close to the water coming up on the left, and we'll maybe take that for 20 minutes or so, depending on how fast we can travel. We have no idea if it's even going to be maintained or if it's even in existence anymore. I think this might be it. Yeah, that would have been it, I think. Doesn't even exist anymore. Or, wait, this might be it. Yeah, I think this is it. So it's not as maintained, but it's still pretty smooth. We're gonna try traveling this for a little bit. It's got grass in the middle, so we'll just be careful we don't hit a boulder. But actually, pretty nice looking. We'll travel this for a while. I don't see anyone else's tire tracks, so hopefully we're alone where we park. Hopefully we're alone on the island. But I think this might turn out to be a good camp. Yeah, not many people use this one. I like seeing the fall foliage. I think the fall foliage is earlier everywhere this year just because of the dry conditions. And it also seems like it's starting to get colder earlier than a normal year. All right, I'm hopping out for a minute. The beavers have blocked off the road. Look at this. Look what the beavers did. And they even put that nice V shape to add strength to it. Look at the level of the road in that dam. They have over 3 feet of water blocking the road. Look at that. So this road would have been perfect if we could have made it down another 20 minutes. I bet somewhere deep, deep underneath there's a culvert pipe, but they are not using this road for logging at the moment, so it is gonna remain like this. We're gonna have to reroute. That's what happens when you're in the middle of nowhere. Anything can come up. All right, we gotta reroute. This road already wasn't the best. If it was raining, I probably wouldn't even have risked going to this point because there's all kinds of erosion. All right, everyone, we're backtracking down the road a bit, and this is gonna mean a bigger kayak ride, much bigger kayak ride, or we choose a different island. We're gonna see what it looks like when we get there. My gosh, the beavers are making this very difficult. They've also blocked off this road. Can we drive through it though? I think we can drive through this one. Seems solid. I see other tracks that have gone through it. It's rocky in here. I see a little bit of current going across, but it's not very deep. We're making our way through. How deep's the water? Almost up to the bottom of the vehicle. All right, everyone. This is a nice looking road. It's going to a actual boat launch, supposedly. The other one that I was trying to get to was very close to the island, but it would have involved carrying the kayaks a distance through the woods with no trail. But it was a kayak ride that was very, very short. This makes the kayak ride to the same island more than 10 times as long with no hike. But I still want to try to get to that island if it's feasible. It is now 1:30. Hopefully we have everything in the water ready to take off in a half an hour. We might still be able to make it up there. We're gonna see. This part of the road isn't that bad, but I can tell this would be a terrible road if it was raining out. I guess the drought did one thing that's good. This road looks like it would get soft very quickly. All right, everyone, we have reached the water. Is there anywhere to park here for the night? Let's see what we got. This is the lake. turnaround area. I guess we're just gonna have to park in the middle here somewhere. Seems like about all we can do. There's no signs, no nothing. Just a turnaround with a fire pit on the edge of the water. It's a bit choppy. Alright, so here's what's going on. There's the main road all the way over there. It's a very, very long lake. See that? Really, really long. Look at that. Look at it go. Look at it go. All the way up into there. But the island we want to go to is right here. Bald Head Island. Looks pretty interesting. Uninhabited. To get there, it's about 6 miles or about 10 kilometers we're going to have to paddle from down here. The original road at the Beavers blocked off is the squiggles see up here. We would have had to walk through the woods a little bit, but it would have been very little kayaking. Now we have no hike, but a lot of kayaking, and you see the water's a bit choppy. Is it going to get choppier when we leave this bay? Because we got to go around that peninsula all the way up here. I think we can accomplish that in a couple of hours. The wind will help us get there today, so it might be harder to get back tomorrow. All depends on tomorrow's forecast. There is no signal out here in the middle of nowhere, but we'll see. And if you were wondering where we are, that is where we are. Alright, so the weather right now is not that bad. It's a bit breezy. It'll probably be cold out on the island. What's all this concrete here? I wonder what this place used to be. But we gotta go around this. A little bit choppy. When it's choppy, always kayak right into it because you could risk tipping if you go that way. So we gotta go around that quite a ways. So I think we should be good just parking here in the middle of this turnaround. Nothing says we can't. In fact, there wasn't a single sign except the end of the road saying it was a private logging road. Enter at your own risk. Just hope it's not more choppy out there. I think it'll probably be the same because that's wide open waters, same as over there. But as of now, the wind will help us get there, but it might be a little harder to get back. As long as we don't get wet on the way out there, because we're gonna need our blankets to be dry tonight. And maybe if the island has a little beach, we can make a little fire. We gotta be careful, it's been dry out. All right, everyone, just parked in the middle. There's a abandoned old rusty bicycle. All right, now I'm wearing a hoodie. I'm gonna take it off. So I'm getting sweaty just putting all my stuff together. And I know rowing, I'm probably gonna get sweaty too. I'm gonna try not to get our stuff wet. The bedding has been put into garbage bags. My backpack that I usually bring hiking fit in the kayak. It's behind me. But on days like this when it's choppy, it might be inevitable getting some water in. And if we can't make it all the way there, we might have to be on the shore, which is more likely to see a bear. So we brought the bear spray. So I brought my tripod, got my regular backpack, life jacket, bunch of energy drinks in case I don't sleep well. So to get here from Maine, it was a 8-hour drive 2 days ago. Yesterday drove 9 hours. Today drove probably 5 hours. And didn't sleep the best last night at a Walmart near Moonbeam. And we're gonna set off. Hopefully I get nice and tired and sleep nice tonight. It's gonna be a cold one. We got hoodies, blanket, couple layers, but let's hope we can get there with everything dry. About to set off. All right, time to go. I got a diving lamp in there for at night. Got a few lights, power banks. I'm gonna try to set off without getting wet. And for now, I am gonna leave the hoodie on because it is a little bit cold here. Try not to get too much sand in. So just get in like this, and I'll just into the water. Okay, All right, this is not the worst water I've ever been in. I've been in more choppy. It's not even going over the bow, but it could get worse. I'm not sure. Typically earlier in the morning it'll be less windy, so tomorrow we'll try to set back a little bit earlier, because today we just got to get around the peninsula, then the wind should be pushing us in the right direction. Now these waves are big enough to tip us over if we are sideways. That's why we just got to keep into them for now. So the waves get bad, then they get a little better. This is the peninsula, we got to go around that. But I'm trying not to go against the waves because we'll tip over. So I'm trying to get out there quite a ways before I turn around and let the wind push me where we want to go. Then the wind is usually not as bad in the morning, so if we leave early in the morning, we should be able to get back with very little wind, but we are prepared if we have to stay out 2 nights, because I think it'll be pretty easy to get there if the wind stays doing what it's doing. It'll be a little bit harder to get back. The waves aren't bad now, but they keep getting a little worse, but I've never tipped a kayak in my life, so hopefully we don't tip one today. All right, everyone, it's pretty choppy. I'm not gonna film a lot for now, but that's the peninsula. There's where we parked, all the way over there. We're out to the end of the peninsula. I've just turned around, waited for a smooth spot between the waves. Now we're gonna make our way around the peninsula. Now the wind is pushing behind our back, and it should get considerably faster paced. Okay, it is now, what time is it? 3 in the afternoon, so we need to try to accomplish 6 miles over the next 3 hours. Then we'll have about 1 hour of pure daylight to set up and maybe another hour of twilight. This far north takes forever to get dark. All right, we've made it around the peninsula now into wide open water. It was a bit sketchy going around that. The waves got huge there for a minute. I only got minor splashes on me, which are already drying quite well. All right, we have a bit of time. The wind should push us nicely now. Some of these waves keep picking up and they're pretty bad, so we might stop here. Can you see that? There's a smaller island on the horizon there. We might have to stop there, it's unnamed. All right, we can see the island a little bit better now. That right there is still 1.5 miles away. You see the island? It's like a shadow against the mainland. And that island right there has 1 mile of water, at least to the nearest coast. The island we were gonna go to is way, way down there. We're just starting to be able to see it, but that's 3 times as far, and the water is almost choppy enough to tip us when we go sideways with it. I gotta catch myself right now because I don't want to tip over. When those bigger waves come, you gotta hit them straight on. All right, we're now 0.7 miles away from the island. We're gonna spend the night. There it is. And way in the distance, I don't know if you can tell, you see an island way, way in the distance there. Well, that is the little island that is next to the island we were gonna go to, but because of those beavers on the road, we had to take a detour. So this island that we're currently headed towards is probably 5 times as much kayaking. And it's gonna be one heck of a ride getting back tomorrow if the waves are still here. Because right now we're actually getting pushed towards the island. Tomorrow we might have to fight it, but I'm hoping early in the morning, if we leave at the crack of dawn, the wind won't have picked up yet. All right, right now we're 0.2 kilometers away from satellite images. The backside of the island doesn't have rocks. I think that's how we're gonna get onto the island. This side's rocky because the waves have been bashing it forever. The other side is shielded, so the other side doesn't look like the wind ever comes from that direction. So we're gonna get off there, and who knows if we find food on that island, or maybe we ration, maybe we could get to the other island tomorrow night. But I'm just happy to get to this one. It seems pretty flat in there, We're in the middle of nowhere. We didn't see another human, another boat. We didn't see a single car on all the dirt roads getting out here. There's no houses anywhere on the edges of this lake. It's all wilderness. So this is pretty cool. I'm hoping we can make a little fire in there. And I did mention how tonight's supposed to get down to around the freezing mark. There won't be a frost on this island. Definitely not surrounded by all this water. And it's been in the 80s the past couple of weeks. So this water is very warm. Like if we were able to if we tipped over or something, and it might be steamy and foggy in the morning, I'm thinking, out on this island. We'll see. If we have to, we'll take a break halfway back. So this is only about a 4-mile kayak ride back to the car, but could be hard if we have to fight the wind tomorrow. It was hard to get out to the end of the peninsula. Now it's been pushing us pretty well. So that's still further away than it looks, and we got to get to the back side. It'll be safer, because this side it'll probably flip us if we try to get out on the side. Right now the waves are getting better. I'm not filming any of the bad parts, not taking that risk, dropping something. All right, we're really close right now. The land you see behind it, that's about a mile away. And it looks perfectly still behind the island. That's where we're gonna try to get off. We gotta be careful approaching it. There's some random rocks in the waves. And there's some anchor point right there from something years ago. It probably has to do with the logging company back in the day. They would use waterways to float logs before they had trucks. That's what I'm thinking that is. So humans have definitely been there before, but are we gonna see any recent evidence, like people camping? I don't know, but I see a lot of dry stuff we could possibly make a little fire with. The backside of the island here will be shielded from the wind. It's not even windy. The wind is only blowing 6 miles an hour, but it's enough to make this amount of waves. Okay, we've got this rock right here coming up we gotta be careful of, but once we get past that, it's perfectly still, the backside. Pretty rocky. The other side, smooth rocks. I think we'll find a nice flat spot in the middle there, shielded from everything. Okay, we're coming in. Look how still it is back in this part. All right, we're making landfall. I see lots of dead driftwood and stuff. The island's bigger when you get up to it. From way out there, I was estimating this thing would probably be about a half an acre of land. Now that we're up to it, it could be a couple acres. I'm gonna try to get out without flooding my boots. Whoa. All right, and these rocks, they look slimy, but they're not even slippery. And out there, I only got one of my sleeves wet, and I think that'll dry by tonight. Get the kayaks up onto the shore. We got to explore the island before we unpack to figure out exactly where. I'm sure there's a nice mossy flat spot by the looks of it. Alrighty, I'll pull you up onto this flat spot. So usually what I do is I slam the kayak in, then I put my weight on the front of it so it can't move. Then I can step out usually nicely. Go. All right, now that we're here, it's nice. So way out there, the island we were gonna go to is this. That's a much bigger island right there called Bald Head Island. And that little island next to it, well, I'll show you on the map right now. All right, so we're here. This is where we are. Right there, this little island. You see the backside where we just landed has no beach because the waves don't typically hit there. And this is where we were gonna go, a couple more miles ahead. See, the road would have got us pretty close if it wasn't for those beavers. That's the one we were gonna go to, right here. Bald Head Island. Has a small island next to it, a couple more even teenier islands. But this looked pretty cool. See, in the middle, there's no trees. It's all rocks. It's like a little mountain island. But that's where we were gonna go. But we landed here today. It's about 4 miles around this peninsula. And that's where we came from right there. That's the boat ramp. So we had to go around that peninsula, struggle in the waves, then it kind of dragged us here. So tomorrow we'll see what ends up happening. So the coast right here, it's about half a mile. Over here is about a mile. This little peninsula coming out near our island is about 0.3. And like I said, the water is very, very warm. We're gonna go ahead, shut that phone off. The water's so still right here, but we can still hear the waves on the backside. Now we gotta figure out where to camp. I actually brought 2 saws with me. Look at all this dead stuff. I want to try to have some kind of little fire, probably by the shore. Because again, even though it's an island, it has been drought out. So we got to see how dry it is in here. It might not be dry if this thing creates fog every morning, especially with the colder weather. After it's suddenly been hotter, this is going to be steaming by morning. We have a little pool right here with some algae in it. Some bigger pools here. How warm is this water going to be? That's kind of cool. Any fish trapped in there? I see mosquito larvae. It's actually not that warm. I was hoping to maybe see a crayfish or something. There's an opening here on the island. And I see some mushrooms. I wonder if those are the edible type. We got a feather out here, probably from a Canada goose. We came at the wrong time of the year. This is all blueberry bushes. If we would have came here in June or July, a whole forest floor is blueberry bushes in here. It's not really a trail, it's just an opening. There's actually quite a few mushrooms in here. Lots of dead material in here. Not many people have been to this island. I don't see any sign of other people here. I'm looking for someone else's old fire pit or something. It's not that remote. If somebody had a motorboat, this is probably only about a half-hour ride. A lot more mushrooms. The moss is actually pretty damp in here. Here's a big rock. There's some birds out here. Happy birds in the trees. I'm not really seeing any clear flat spots, so we might have to move a couple things and make one. Look what I just found. Look at this big eggshell with spots on it. It's about the size of a chicken egg. Maybe that's from the Canada goose. I'm looking around. I don't see any large nests up top, but maybe on the ground somewhere in here, if we keep poking around, we could find a nest from a duck or a goose. There's a pretty good flat spot there, nice and mossy, a nice cushion to sleep on under the tent. We just have to clean up a few logs, but it's also very close to this side of the island. Not much barrier from the wind, so we'll keep looking on the other side first. Couldn't find a nest, but there's other various forms of mushroom. There's a bunch of brown ones. There's a bigger red one. I'm sure some of these are edible, but I'm not taking that risk unless I know 100%. Something's been eating these ones. Birds or something picking at it. Lots of blueberry bushes. There's more mushrooms, tiny, tiny little ones. And here's that thing I was pointing out. Back in the day, they used to just float in bodies of water, logs. I'm assuming this had to do with it. And there's a smaller one right there. Very, very nice island. Hey, here's a piece of metal painted yellow. And there's a caterpillar on it. And there's a lot of ants in there that I just made very angry. Look at that red algae, that's kind of pretty. Over here is pretty turbulent. Surprisingly not slippery. Maybe it is further down, but I might consider swimming later. Water is very warm. There's another flat spot in there. I'm trying to seek out a flat spot on the shielded side of the island. And maybe at night on the shielded side, we'll use a flashlight, look in the water. Might even be able to catch a crayfish. We'll have to see what kind of creatures would be on the other side at night. So that right there is about a mile away. That's about 0.3 miles away. And over here suddenly it gets quiet. There's no wind. But this section still looks like a trail. Back here on this side, this is pretty cool. From here, it jumps down to like 4, then down to like 6 or 7 feet. This is a good area to jump off. Gets deep fast. So right now I'm just trying to determine where would be best to set up a tent. Right here's promising. And if we clean up this dry wood, we'll have a little bit of stuff to have a little fire with. Probably make a little fire pit out by the water. It is pretty still right here. It's shielded from the wind. Or should I set the tent up deeper in here? You see there's another flat spot right in here. I got a saw. I could get rid of this dead tree that's in the middle of this opening. Right here seems pretty flat. There's lots of birch bark there that would help start a fire. See all this? Could easily get that out of here. This is pretty flat. I just have to rake up some of these little twigs. This big piece can easily be cut out of here. And very easy access to where we pull the shore. Could easily make a little trail here going in. And at this point, it's got pretty good trails in that direction. Not so bad. All right, everyone. We got to get our supplies out here and start cleaning up. All right, everyone, we actually just found a perfect spot to make a fire pit. So we're gonna bring the birch bark out with us every trip to get more stuff in here. Now I gotta start cleaning this up. All right, everyone, I got my saw out. Let's cut this tree up. All right, that tree is very dry. That'll make a lot of good kindling. We'll drag that back over to the edge. We're not gonna make a fire pit anywhere inland. I don't wanna burn this place down. All right, let's clear out any stick that's potentially sharp. Now this island is still wet. It's not as dry as the mainland. This place must get foggy every morning. Look at all this birch bark. The log that used to be in it just rotted away. That's really good for starting a fire. Get all that out of here. There's more mushrooms in here. All these little bushes are nothing more than twigs. Not supposed to rain tonight, so we'll just spread the tarp over them all. Got a tent. Got our tarp. All right, we set it up nicely right over these little bushes with the tarp. They'll crush down and we won't even feel those. So we got it set up nicely. Now this tent, I'm not exactly sure why it's like that, those poles, but it's done that the past couple setups. It's okay. I'm sweating a lot. Gotta get something to drink. We brought a lot of bottled water. We also brought water filtration, so we absolutely won't run out. Actually, I haven't had a drop of water since we left the car 4 hours ago, so I'm gonna drink on up. All right, everyone, we found a nest over here right next to the kayaks. It's a lot smaller than I thought it would be. I don't think it's the same nest. I think we're gonna probably happen upon many, many more nests. I think that's too small to be a goose, but maybe a duck or a loon. We heard loons on the way here, but didn't see any. Now this flat spot here, I'm just gonna make a quick little fire pit with these rocks. And lots of dry material. I'm not gonna do it in the woods. Even though the ground seems like it might be wet, it's not a good idea. Just wanna make a tiny little fire there. But I'll look around the edge of the coast a bit for more of those nests. Look at this, a nice piece of quartz. I gotta show you some nice veins of quartz I was seeing earlier. And if you look carefully at this quartz, Not that far in. You got a snail, and that's a ram's horn snail. Actually, a bunch of them. Even those tiny little specks I think are snails. They're just so small. Hey, you want to see quartz covered in snails? Look at this. All those little specks, if you look carefully, are snails.
Oh, that's so cool.
Look at all this dry stuff right here. Now this is the route we're taking in. It'll get better the more and more we trample it. Nicely tucked in here, the tent. Nice shady area. Especially out on the rocks, it feels a lot hotter than the forecast said it was going to be. And I bet it's going to get colder out here than the forecast said because we're not near any towns. There's no weather stations out here. But at the same time, on this island will probably be warmer than forecasted because we're surrounded by water that I'm willing to swim in right now. It's very warm. So I'm going to drag that piece back, set up the fire pit. First we need to set up our air mattresses. How old is this tree? About 15 years old, I think. Not too old. Sometimes on islands like this, their growth can be stunted for a variety of reasons, but apparently this thing has been growing fast. And it's not super duper dry. It looks like it had probably just died this season. It even had pine cones up in the top of it, because that's what I just cut. I was actually able to make a pretty nice fire pit. These rocks are big and they stood upright nicely. There's lots of quartz around here. Look at that. Only a couple hours away is the amethyst mine, and amethyst is just purple quartz. If we look over here, there's a couple pretty nice veins of it. Now this algae is actually extremely slippery on this side. Now where is that vein of quartz I was seeing earlier? Here's one. Look at that. It is quite a bit more windy, it's colder, and this is where we came from. Between those masses of land, we got to go through there and to the left. It's a couple miles away we're looking at. And I found another nest. Look at that. I'm just taking a walk around. I really love the rock formations on this side. Everything's so smooth. Some of these nests are probably nicely camouflaged, and there's probably some inland. The eggshells were in the middle of the island. Making a lap around. If you're speed walking, you can get around the island in 5 minutes. A little tricky on this side, especially if you have to step on the slippery rocks. This is the worst part. That's very slippery. So that's when I cut inside the island. The moss is so soft right here. I'm just cutting around that slippery part. It's a good size island. Finding my way through here. There's no trash, there's absolutely no sign of humans here. kind of hard to walk. This side of the island has a lot of blown over trees. This water's actually pretty warm. So I've been touching the water the whole kayak ride out here. I just touched it again. It feels warm, but as soon as I jumped in, it is freezing cold, like a foot below the surface. Yeah, that was like, oh no, once I got in there, it was only warm on the surface. But still, not that bad. Look at that. No smoke whatsoever. We built it up really high. Look at that, no window get in there. You also can't see the flames from the distance. Not that there's anyone around here. Look at that, burning so nice and hot in there. Nice warm fire to dry off before it gets cooler tonight. All right, everyone, check this out. If we wanted, we could boil some water and make some tea. We found mint, not just any mint, but chocolate mint. This plant literally smells like chocolate, and you can eat it. Tastes like chocolate. Tastes like chocolate mint. Yummy. Look at this awesome line of quartz. I doubt any of it's loose, especially after winter and ice smashing it. There's an even bigger piece right over here at the swimming hole. Look at all this quartz. Got this darker quartz. It might just be dirty or it might be iron. Then we have this pure white quartz just covered in very slippery slime. Down there, not slippery at all. That rock, super duper slippery. If it wasn't so cold in the shady part of the island, the other side of the island has like a slipping slide. You could slide right into it. Looks like it'd be fun. Look at that, zero smoke. You can't even tell we have a fire running over there. But you can see the heat making it a little wavy. Look at that, look at the waviness in the middle of the screen. But other than that, from a distance, you never even know a fire's burning. Pretty cool. All right. Let's see, at what point does this get slippery? It looks like a flat slip and slide right in. Not slippery here. Still not slippery. All right, it gets slippery right there. That must be the full-time underwater area. Pretty cool. At least I don't have to worry about stepping on glass on this island. There's no signs of people. But I might step on some broken bones. Looks like the seagull killed something there. I guess we'll just continue swimming on the calm side. Fire started smoking in the last couple minutes, just slightly. It might be going out. That driftwood doesn't burn long. You gotta keep supplying that stuff. Chilly. Look at this quartz. This is the best little bit yet. Look at it. It's a nice big patch of it. All right, everyone. There's actually, on this island, so much quartz. A lot of these rocks, look at that, white. I think this is more quartz than anything else. A lot of these are more quartz than anything else. Look at this, here's a little piece of quartz. This, all quartz. Flip it over, quartz. That big piece is almost all quartz. And there was a little more I wanted to show. Look at the size of that snail shell. I better put that back in the water. It looks like there's a few tiny baby snails that are still alive on it. But look at this. Mostly quartz. This piece actually has a vein, a couple veins of quartz. Looks really cool. Look at that, there's some pink quartz in there. There's a lot of the stuff. Really cool patterns, which I think are just dirtier quartz. Because there is black quartz, there's brown quartz that kind of blends in. It's just iron mixed into it really badly. But there's many just big solid chunks of quartz here. You don't notice them off the bat because they're dirty and slimy. That should cook for a while. That's very dry, so it's not gonna last too long, but it'll probably get us into the evening, that thicker piece. We still have a couple hours of daylight. Cheez-Its. The seagull circling us. I think it wants some of the food. Where'd it go? Well, that's the birch bark. Birch bark contains a lot of oils. That's why it's good at starting fires even when it's wet. It's throwing a good amount of heat. Look at it go. That'll probably burn out in a couple minutes. This island has a lot of quartz. Look at that piece right there. And I noticed earlier, there is a absolutely massive piece right over here. I think this rock that my jacket's on is almost solid quartz too. Look at that. And the birch is already gone. Burned fast and quick. I'm gonna have an orange and go for a walk to the other side of the island. Oranges are also good for cleaning your teeth. The sun is almost about to go down. pretty soon. It's a little bit wavier on this side now. Looks like it might be calming down on the other side slightly. That would be awesome if it switched wind direction overnight for the way back. So I think we should get these kayaks up onto the shore a little bit by morning. It's getting pretty out. The waves are slowing down. It was crashing over there earlier. Let's hope it continues to slow down. It picked up a bit. Now it's slowing down. We might have a good sunset. There's a couple clouds in the sky to maybe make that happen. All right, kayaks are way into the island now, just in case the wind switched direction in the middle of the night. But everything seems to be calming down right now. All right, it looks like the sun has set. It's 7:47. No more sun. We'll probably still be able to see for a while though. The waves are definitely slowing down. When we got here, I filmed that puddle because it had a cool red LG outline. It wasn't connecting. The wind got worse. It started flooding up into here. Now it's reduced a bit. Going back to the tent before it gets too dark to see. Grab some lights. We have a diving lamp. We're hoping when it gets dark to see some critters in the water. It's so peaceful right here now. We got the windy, wave bashing side and this nice quiet side. All right, let's get some lights. I'm gonna plug in this phone, let it top off. We got 3 power banks. Look at this. That right there is a white suckerfish. Oh, it just got out. Just looking around on these shelves for creatures. Oh no, this flashlight, we just started using it and it's already on red. It's okay, we got another one. I like how it at least warns you that it's going to die soon. When it gets below a certain voltage, it turns from blue to red. But these are submersible. You can put them underwater. It's getting choppier on this side. Look, we found more creatures. Look at that. Look at all those snails in there.
That one's moving.
There's even more. Where?
That one.
Oh, there's more over there too. Every surface, look at all the snails. Look at that, zoomed in 10 times. There's so many snails. Look what I just found. That's a leech. Look at it. Fully extended, it's probably a good 5 inches. A leech in there. Let me grab it. Oh, it's very slippery. Oh, there it is. Look at that. Leech. What are these things? They're hiding from the light, and there's more snails. My light's rapidly getting dimmer. It's too choppy over here, but these little pools, we're seeing some creatures. Maybe we should flip over a few rocks, see what we can find. Maybe bigger than that. Put him back in the water.
Nay, he's off the rock now.
Just put him back in the water.
Scary.
Here. It's not gonna bite you in a second. See what kind of creatures could be under these rocks. Lots of snails. Whatever those teeny things are that are scurrying away. There's a bunch of snails under that rock. Whatever those creatures are, they don't like light. They weren't out when the sun was up. There's lots of life here down in the crevices. Let's go get some more firewood. We're almost out. Alright everyone, we're gonna go to sleep soon. So the nighttime now is basically, it's almost 12 and 12 hours. By driving here to Western Ontario, the very edge of the Eastern time zone, we've gained quite a bit of daylight compared to what I'm used to. Almost another hour being here on the other end of the time zone. So that means the sun will come up a bit earlier than I'm used to also. We'll set an alarm for 6, which should be about an hour before the sun comes up. We'll have everything packed for the crack of dawn. Everything's calmer right now. It's usually very calm in the mornings, so that's probably when we'll try to head out. Daybreak. So we're just sitting here with the fire until the flames are gone and it's just down to coals, which will quickly go out. Wanted to show this. So I got that rock right there. It was in the water a little bit. Because it was in the water, it's obviously got internal moisture, which the fire quickly boiled and the pressure cracked it. Look at that. It cracked from bottom corner to top corner. It's pretty cool. Look at that. Try to break it open a little more so you can see it perfectly. How hot is that? It's not even that hot. I can keep my hand on it. Surprised it broke. Look at that. Perfect crack. It's very perfect, actually. Let's get that open. Wow, look how clean that is in there. That's a clean break. Perfect break. Nice. Satisfying how that broke. Alright, just grabbing a bedtime snack from the tent. And grab some more birch. Love birch bark. Throw that whole log in there. Let's go back. Okay. Making my way back through. We've plowed a good trail through here. Alright, back to the fire. That was gonna get big fast. We've got some bedtime snacks and toothbrushes. So, got some cookies and little cakes. Yeah, that log got big fast. You can still see the sun on the horizon too. Let's look up close. Throws a lot of heat real fast. Now it's snack time. Look at that smoke looks kind of cool. It's because that log I threw in there, because it's from the woods, has a lot of moisture in it. That's why it's smoking a lot, now that the bark's gone. But it looks pretty nice. Look at that. Kind of looks like an alligator out there, that log. This is what it actually looks like to the naked eye, without enhancing it at all. It's almost completely dark. If we look up at the sky, there's some stars starting to show themselves. I'm not sure if it's going to show up on camera at all, but, well, you can see that one definitely. But there's quite a few stars, and as it gets darker and darker, you can see more and more of them. Here's another one. Through a camera, you just can't see it as well. But I like to enhance it like that. The camera can add a little bit of light, make it look a little prettier. Alright everyone, the fire's almost out. Wow, that looks super cool. You cannot see that with the naked eye. Not that good. Looks cool. So now, let's look at the sky. Oh, some of them are actually showing up on the camera. Wow, a lot more are showing up now than when I tried to show you before. Anyways, myself, I can see hundreds and hundreds of stars out there. You can probably only see a couple with the camera, but I can see hundreds and hundreds of them here in person. This is what it looks like to me now. See that? It's just completely dark. Maybe you see a little flicker of fire, but I can add a little bit of light. You can still see the sun when I do that, but to the naked eye, you can't really see much of anything. Just the tiniest little glow over there.
What?
Does that show up on camera at all? Very faintly, I think we can see some of the northern lights. I don't know, I see something going. There's so many stars out here though. Well, I'm all done looking at the sky. I'm looking around for creatures again, and the water's definitely stiller. Because earlier I couldn't even see down there to look. And now, going towards the choppy side, the choppy side is pretty much like the still side was earlier. It's calming down a lot. I hope it continues to calm down before morning. Got an alarm set for 6, which is about an hour, I think, before the sun comes up. Just looking for creatures in the pools. Looking around a bit. This looks like someone actually cut this trail into the island, but I think it's just a coincidence. Gonna look around for critters a little bit more. So as far as the sky, I think we might be able to slightly see the northern lights. If we look down that way, we can see the glow of the town, which is probably, if I had to estimate, 6 or 7 miles away. And it's a tiny little town. We're just looking in crevices for creatures right now. So I think the biggest thing that probably lives on this island is birds. There might be mice. I don't think they're squirrels. We would have heard them angry. And we don't really have to be careful with food, because I don't think a bear is going to swim out here in the middle of the night. But it does appear like it is calming down a lot. I'm going to use that orange puddle over here as judgment. Yeah, it's not even close anymore. Check it out, everyone. We're back in the tent and we got a friend in here. Look at it. We're gonna get him out of here. Come on, walk onto this. Did I get him? Can you shine over here? Did I get him?
I don't know.
He fell somewhere. Or did I just make him come back in?
Scary. Oh.
Wait, look around. I think I just got him out. If not, he's gonna get crushed. Did you do this, or did the mouse chew in there?
Oh my.
There was a mouse in here. Something's in here with us.
I'm scared.
No, it's a mouse or a squirrel. It's something. Mouse or a chipmunk. Or was that like that?
I doubt.
So should we throw it outside to let it have it?
Yeah.
It's nothing big on the island. I'm sure it's nothing big. There's no bears on the island. So we should let them have it?
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna eat that?
No.
And the rest of the food's in here?
Yep.
Now, how to get in here? This was shut. Did it chew away in and ruin the tent? Because this was shut, right?
It was, yeah.
So that means it must have ruined the tent somewhere. If this was shut, how'd it get in here?
Maybe it was when I left it open?
No. Oh, another spider. Let's look around. Yep, look. There's little pieces of plastic everywhere. There was a mouse or something in here. If you could find its poop, I could confirm if it's a mouse or something bigger like a vole. Vole's like a little gerbil. It's a good thing it didn't chew our air mattress. One of us would have a bad night. How'd it get in here? I'm thinking there's a hole in the tent somewhere. Well, that verifies our question. There's definitely mice here on this island. I don't think it's going to come back in here. It smelled that. I don't know if it's going to smell anything else in here. Did it go do anything else? I don't think it went through the rest of this. But hopefully that satisfies it and it just stays outside and stays away from us now. It's actually hot in here. And I just don't see it getting down as cold as they possibly forecasted. I'll get this spider out of here too. This little guy here. There you go. Oh, it fell. Come on, get back on my finger. Come on. The cake's out. Alright everyone, I just plugged the lead camera into the power bank, so this one here is going to start charging. And hopefully the mice are satisfied with the food I threw outside. I threw it outside because I don't think anything's on this island other than rodents and birds. They can have fun with that. Hopefully it keeps them from chewing their way back in here when we're sleeping. Good night, everyone. Good morning, everyone. It is just after 6. The sun probably won't come up until about 8. Oh, we're finally able to see who's been eating it. Look at that, it's right there. Zoom in on him. We've heard this guy all night. We don't know how many there are. Well, there's a better shot of them. Look at that. It's just a regular mouse. We actually thought it was going to be something bigger. There he is. Teeny little thing. It sounded bigger because it was walking around the tarp outside the tent earlier right next to me. We'll take the plastic, but we'll leave the food there for him. We've heard that bag crinkling all night. It's been going back and forth there all night. Where'd he go? I think it finally ran away. It's just a little mouse. I thought it would have been something bigger though, like a vole or even a flying squirrel, which is considerably bigger. Right now I'm looking for my other dive lamp. I know I got another one that's got more battery power. I just accidentally took the wrong one out. A lot of spiders around too. Guess I'll bring this big flashlight. This one's pretty bright. Okay. How do I work it? I haven't ran this one in a while. There we go. Ooh, there's the mouse again. Is there just one? I'm assuming if there's one, there's probably a lot of them on this island. They're not too afraid of people. They never are. I've had mice in my campsites before. And I think it probably would have came in when we were sleeping if I didn't put the food outside. That's why I did that. And there's no bears around here. We're on an island. But I'm gonna maybe try tidying things up before the sun comes up with just headlamps. In the distance I hear what I think is waves crashing on the coast. But all considering, the water is super still. When we went to bed, we heard waves bashing against the shore. But wow, look, it is still. I think on all sides of the island. Let's try using the flashlight in a different way. So that was the brightest mode, I guess. But we have the beam part of it. Is it not working? Oh, there it is. There's the beam. The land, like I said, is so far away, we're not going to be able to shine that off the island. Let me try it again. See, we got this beam flashlight. What's that? A rock? Something shiny in the water. But I guess we're going to take a little walk. The sun's already coming up. Look at that. My naked eye, this is what I see. I see a little glow like that. But we can enhance. I'm actually going to take a still picture. That's pretty nice. We also can see the moon. That's what I'm seeing with the naked eye. Just a little crescent moon. But that's pretty nice how the enhanced camera can see a star next to it. We can also see... Zoom in a little more. That's actually a good picture. I'm trying to get a still. Hopefully that comes out nice. But we're gonna go for a little walk now to the aggressive wave side. And yeah, water usually calms down by morning. And I'm glad this is the case. We're gonna pack up, get out of here as soon as we can see where we're going. This is nice. I hear something in the distance, and considering nothing's around and it's so consistent, we gotta be hearing waves out on the coast. But yeah, this hasn't been wavy in a while. Look, all dry, the rock. Wow. The waves are gone. We can see so far out here into the water. Look at this little fish. I hear Canada geese out there on the water. They're already awake. I hear them honking. And look at all this awesome foam. Just gotta be careful. Where's the slipperiness start? Look at that foam. It's pretty cool. Oh yeah, lots of fish coming up to me. That's why fishing with a flashlight's illegal in a lot of spots. They're curious, they come right up to the flashlight. Water there looks cool. But yeah, so still. Amazingly still. It's eerily still out here. But nothing to do but watch the sun come up. You can still look up, see so many stars. I'm gonna shut my headlamp off. There's no need for that right now. But I think I'm gonna pack up the kayaks. I'm gonna carry them both back over next to each other again. Load them on up. And the sun right now is supposed to come up at 7:38. It says for the nearest town. But I bet you we'll be able to set off at like 7, just because we're in such a wide open area. And because the water's so still right now, I think there's very little risk of tipping over. Yesterday, I really thought one of us was gonna go down. Some of the waves were bad. I was only filming when it was still enough to not tip. But I obviously wasn't trying to film the really bad parts, where if I kept my hand off the paddles for more than a couple minutes, it was really high risk of going down. But yeah, I think I'll be able to see in about 1 hour. So we'll technically get out of here before the sun comes up. I'm gonna take my headlamp, move this back over to the other side near the fire pit, get my kayak down, start loading up. All right, everyone, it's 6:23. We got both the kayaks right next to the water, ready to launch. There's the other dive lamp. My backpack's gonna go in here as soon as that's put away. We barely used a fraction of our water. Got a lot of energy drinks. We need to get going. Look at that. We're not even on the side of the island that the sun's coming up, and you can already start to see with the naked eye. If my eyes adjusted, I'd be able to see. We're gonna try to get off this island in the next 20 minutes or so. Right, time to quickly take down the tent. The tent is covered in a mixture of morning dew and breath. The water isn't steaming as much as I thought it was going to. And you know what? Being surrounded by water, it didn't get cold last night. In fact, I didn't even sleep with my hoodie on. I was sweating half the night. And now that I'm walking around, I'm good. I'm ready to go. So, and now in here, we're taking down and tying up the air mattress. Sorry, hon. All right. Rolling up the air mattresses. I'll roll it up. I'll roll it up because that's actually got to be rolled into thirds. That's not going to fit. It's okay. And over here I cleaned up the bag. The mouse can have its little treat. That'll probably last it for days. It's not supposed to rain for days, so it'll be happy with that. Although I suppose as soon as the sun rises, the birds are probably going to steal all his food, so hopefully it's been storing it all night. There's so many spiders this morning that we're having to move off of our stuff. Is that focusing in? There's a lot of them. Try not to crush them. This tent always takes a minute at the end. You gotta squeeze. And there's a beetle. Okay, while putting everything away. It appears our mouse friend has not chewed a hole in the tent. It must have just got in the door last night to eat that. No damage done. We left a big flat area here, but that's the only remnants we're gonna leave on the island, is that cut mark that a human was recently here. We're gonna take this. The fire is cold to the touch. There's not even a hot ember in there. I checked earlier. And I still hear rumbling. I think waves are crashing against the coast, but it's still right here, so I think we should get out of here right now. I think that's what I'm hearing. Who knows, it could be a railroad way in the distance. Because trains, you'll hear those dozens of miles away in the wilderness. But it's still very still. So I think we're gonna get on our way. So this gets stuffed into my rear. Everything here is cold to the touch. I think we're gonna get going, and the rocks are all cold. We'll get to see the sun come up. Yeah, yesterday there was waves crashing over these rocks. It's still, everything's still. And yesterday I was sweating in this while I was paddling. This arm was getting a little damp, but it dried before bedtime. Usually when I'm out kayaking, I'd be able to stop, take my life jacket off, take the jacket off. Couldn't do that yesterday. I couldn't get 10 seconds to myself out there without worrying about it tipping over. It's nice and still this morning. So let's try to get the paddling done fast. So it's probably 4 or 5 miles back going around that peninsula and everything. So if we paddle fast, we could probably get back there in an hour or two. All right, let's pack up. Okay, got it wedged. Should go out nicely now. Seem to be wedged on something. There we go. There we go. Woo! There we go, everyone. I like the red light because I can see in here, but it also doesn't compromise my vision far away now that it's starting to get light out. All right, everyone, so the red light gives me the ability to see in here. It also doesn't interrupt my vision. There's no adjusting. If I had my white light on, I'd have to adjust my eyes every time to see. But there's our little island. You can see the whole thing. You can see the moon I was zooming into earlier. Look, it's just a crescent moon with a star next to it. That's so beautiful. Taking another picture of that. I love the crescent moon with a star. And that's a beautiful picture too, with the shadow of the trees. Sun's coming up. Now we're about to start our navigation. I'm gonna have Google Maps running in here, showing our route back. And now if you zoom in over here, we may encounter areas that are steamy and foggy. I'm hearing some kind of rumbling. I think there's waves hitting that coast. It could be small waves. It's just so still, you can hear stuff from far away. When it's still like this, I think people on the coast would even be able to hear my voice echoing. But it's so perfectly still. Look at that. So perfectly still. Okay, it's time to start moving. And this right here would have been wide open waters yesterday. Smile for your mom. Wait, let me put my white light on for this. Smile. Perfect picture. All right, Google Maps is running. This is where we are. My dot's covering up the island. See that peninsula right next to us? That's 0.3 miles away. The land on the other side is 0.9, nearly a mile away. And we have about 4 miles back to where we started, the pin up there. But because we go around the peninsula, I think we have to kayak 5. So this is almost a 10-mile round trip. Let's get going. There's our little island. The sun doesn't even come up for another 50 minutes technically. We're just using this little glow, and it's so beautiful. Look at all the particles in the water. This water's deep. The water feels very warm also compared to the air. But we don't want to fall in. We're out here in the middle now, so it's a little bit choppier, but this is nothing compared to yesterday. No risk at all of tipping over. What's our island look like now? There's our island over there. There's the island we were at last night. And this angle, without the sun in my eyes, I can really clearly see that little island in the back of it and that bigger island. That's Bald Head Island. That's the one we were supposed to go to. But you see, they look like they're right next to it, but you see how they're blurrier in the background? They are 2 miles beyond where we stopped last night. And that island right now, the one we stopped on last night, how far do you think that is right now? I'm gonna measure it right now on Google Maps. Yeah, we just paddled 0.7 miles. It was 0.7 miles, and I think where we have to go is that landmass back there in the fog. It'd be kind of cool if we get into the fog. Look over there, look at all that. At least that means it's not windy if that's sticking around. It's nice out here right now. And yeah, I think that's waves I'm hearing over there on the shore. It just sounds violent because it's so quiet out. You can hear rumbling. All right, everyone. 18 minutes until the sun comes up. It's now 7:24, and it is now 3 degrees Celsius out, which would be about 38 Fahrenheit. So we have peninsula number 1, peninsula number 2, and peninsula number 3, the real long one we have to go around to get to the car. There's fog in between them, and it looks like we're gonna go into some fog. It might make the air feel warmer. It looks like we're gonna go into some dense fog where we have to use the map to navigate. That's why we're leaving the red lights on. It's getting pretty. The sun's almost up. Almost. The sun is up. And right now we're basically in that cloud, but it doesn't seem like it. We're in the fog. And our island is almost invisible back there. Steamy. You even hear loons out here. It's getting foggier. It's getting mistier. Earlier the sun was too bright. Now the fog is actually nicely blocking it. The sun now looks like the moon. It's so shaded. Look how foggy it is. We can't even barely see the land we're going to. We literally can't see where we're going to. We can see part of over there, but can no longer see where we're going to. The island we came from, we can slightly see, but it's just about invisible now. All right, everyone, we've been out just over an hour. I think we'll probably be back to the car in a half hour. There's some slight waves, but this is the last peninsula. Once we go into there, over on that piece of land is where the car is parked. See, there's all these little dips that go in, all kinds of places you could get confused if you didn't have a map. We can't see the island anymore. Maybe it would be possible if it was perfectly clear sky. It's clearing up fast. It got sunny again. I'm so glad now we're facing away from the sun. That fog shielded us like sunglasses for a bit. But once we get past this, the slight breeze will help us drift back. But today we were fighting the breeze, but thankfully it wasn't windy like yesterday. Thankfully the waves weren't there, because yesterday we couldn't go around this. because the waves would smash us into those rocks. Yesterday we had to go way out there just to get dragged to the island. And if the waves are still here, we'd have to go way out there fighting them to get dragged back there. But nothing's dragging us today. Yesterday there was a risk of getting slammed into the rocks or tipped over. We wouldn't be able to go here against the waves, but it's nice and calm now. Any moment we're gonna see where the car is parked. But look, another little cove. Keeps tricking us. I think that's the last one though. Look at all the suds balls, just like I showed before the sun came up. This morning we've seen a couple airplanes, the type with the water landing gear. No boats, not a single boat out here. Today or yesterday, we're all alone. Yeah, yesterday we could not have been this close to the shore. We definitely couldn't even be facing this way in the waves, but look, we are back. Right over there, the car is gonna be back there somewhere in those bushes. That's back. Should be there in about 20 minutes. Probably less, because now we got the breeze helping push us. Fog's almost burned off. All right, we're halfway across. There's the boat ramp. We only used a small fraction of what we brought out. We probably only went through a quarter of our water, but yet we had filtration in case. Barely went through our food. We still have a lot of peanuts. All we really ate is Cheez-Its and those couple snacks last night. We barely ate out there. Never got hungry. Never really got thirsty either. It's a little bit warm going out there, but this morning was cool. It's perfect temperature now with the hoodie. Yesterday wasn't hot either, but it felt hot in the sun. All the rocks started heating up. It was nice enough to go swimming, but yet yesterday did not get above 58 degrees. That's about 16 Celsius. Now that the sun's out, those particles in the water, I think that's actually pollen. A lot of it's floating. These trees are pollinating pretty late, but I guess we are pretty far north. A lot of pine cones and stuff forming right now. I better get a move on, I'm falling behind. Remember how that island had that anchor point for a big rope or something? I'm willing to bet, see how the land's built up right here? I'm willing to bet that also has to do with logging. I bet this was a point they either pull logs on or dumped them off into the water. Probably has something to do with logging. And then they tug them across or let the wind do it. I think this probably had to do with logging back in the day, because what else could it possibly be out here? Middle of nowhere, this like port, old abandoned port. See how it's holding up the ground with old rotten pillars and there's concrete up there? What do you think? Leave it in the comments. Okay, we're coming back. There's not much for fall colors up here. In fact, all the birch trees are almost bald. We just get some yellows up here. There's no maple anywhere that I can see this far north. I am about to hit the edge. Here we go. Try to build up as much speed as I can. Crash. Here we go. Then I step on the front of the kayak, pushes into dirt. Got out nicely. Alrighty. Time to pack on up. Alright everyone, it's time to go. A lot of these trees are now losing their leaves. Nice and warm out already. Well, I think it's just because our blood's pumping. Look at all this erosion here. There's a little fire pit there. This concrete's all falling in. Under here starting to become hollow. Pretty cool spot. I don't know if they still maintain this or not, but I'm assuming because that stuff is there, they'll probably take care of the beaver issue on the road. But now it's time to go down the dirt road and get out of here. I'll show a little bit of that. Thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day. Some pebbles falling off the kayaks. We have it double ratchet strapped because I had single ratchet strapped, but one of them started fraying and I didn't like that, so now it's double ratchet strapped. I think the flood is right around this corner. Current temperature is 42 degrees or 6 Celsius. Now we got the heat running because it's starting to feel cold now that we're not doing anything, no longer working. To our left there's a lot of tamarack trees, a type of pine tree that's not evergreen. Those are going to turn bright yellow and look pretty beautiful in a couple of weeks. They're usually one of the last trees to lose their foliage. Also, the aspen trees are usually pretty late too. Birch is usually early. I don't see any maple up here. I also like being able to look up and see the kayaks. It's also very manageable getting them up and down. No ladders required when I use the old car to move them around. My truck's rack on the top is not really for kayaks. It's difficult. But the car, I can fit a few up there because I got the J-hooks. Although I think I'm going to replace the J-hooks because I have one ratchet strap going through the J-hooks as they're supposed to be, and I have another one going over the kayak through the entire factory rack because I don't really trust the J-hooks. They're 6 years old and they've been up there through 6 seasons of road salt. There's a pretty good amount of rust on them, but I tugged on them. None of them broke. They held my weight pulling on them, but I think I'm going to go ahead and replace those by next season. Look at this area. It's got nice falling leaves. All the foliage you see here is birch. Nope, that beaver flood was not here. It's a little bit further than I thought it was. It's coming up soon, though. It's got to be. These roads, for the most part, are pretty smooth. There's some holes, but we're taking it pretty good. This old car is still running good. 386,000 miles. Nothing's ever broke. Still going good. Is this the flood? This big dip coming up, probably, maybe. Yep, here's the flood. hitting a beaver dam on the left side. Let me put the window down. I want to show you. Ooh, look at the steam from it hitting the hot exhaust. You see, when it's inconvenient for beavers to get sticks, or it's just easier, look at that. Look at all the rocks they'll use in their dam. I've seen beaver dams made 100% out of rocks. And until I caught beavers doing it on my cameras, I thought kids were blocking off all the local rivers and stuff, because I used to do that as a kid. But nope, beavers will incorporate lots and lots of rocks into their dam if they have it, and also to reinforce. But their favorite food source is behind here. Willow trees, they're everywhere. Very soft wood, very delicious bark. Easy to cut down. All right, here we go. This water is probably 8-10 inches. It's touching the bottom of the car, but that's all right. You can hear the suspension squeaking quite a bit, but it's still smooth. We're almost back to the main logging artery, and yep, here it is. This is the main artery for the loggers. We got a gravel pit next to us. All the current logging trucks are going to the left. So this is the active logging road. This is the road we tried to get further up there. So it looks like 6 kilometers back to the paved road. The paved road, is that Trans-Canada? Yeah, it's Trans-Canada Highway. That thing goes all the way to the west coast. Oh wow, look at this part of the road. This would look beautiful in a couple more weeks. Lining the road as far as the eye can see, this is tamarack. Those pine trees will turn bright yellow soon. That was going to be a bad bump. You should see how I used to drive this thing on the logging roads. I got older videos. I drive this thing 50 miles an hour, 80 kilometers an hour on the logging roads every single day, hitting the stop blocks multiple times, a few times even jumping a couple times over frost heaves. And yeah, never broke anything. Hit the oil pan multiple times, never broke it. Very strong. Wonder what that's for. Probably securing straps on log trucks before they hit the main road. In my area, the log trucks do not need to be well strapped to hit the roads. But most of those log trucks don't even hit the pavement. I guess around here they have to secure them a lot better. But logs do fall off the log trucks in Maine, even on the paved roads. You'll see them on the side of the road a lot. But now we're on the main road. We'll pull over in a little bit and check the straps, make sure nothing loosened up. They usually don't. I've never had anything become loose after moving. Now, get going faster. Little pebbles and stuff falling off the kayak from the sandy beach. down a dirt road that looks interesting, so now we're going down a logging road that's about 150 kilometers long. We were going to take the paved road to Thunder Bay, but we're going to take this, which it says 2 hours, but the speed we're going is probably going to take 3 hours to go down this dirt road. We're only going to Thunder Bay because we want to check out one of the amethyst mines, which will be pretty cool. It's an open pit mine where you can buy amethyst really cheap because they don't have to ship it anywhere. Who knows what we'll find down the dirt road though. It is a Friday, so maybe we'll pass some interesting log trucks I can add to the video. But for the most part, this road's in pretty good shape. It's just got pretty large gravel, that's why it's a little bumpy. But as far as potholes, they're pretty minimal. And all the hazards seem to be pretty well marked. Same kind of thing I do in Maine. Someone went out here and marked everything pretty well. Coming up now to a bigger logging area. This is very, very fresh. Maybe we'll see some equipment. Maybe we'll see some log trucks. Maybe the log trucks are going out the opposite way that we're coming in. Maybe now we'll start to see some trucks. There's the log skid that brings them out to the road. I don't see anyone working though. Maybe they got this Friday off. It is Friday. It's unusual to not see anyone working out here. Here's an active clear cut they're working on right now. I see some vehicles up here. Their loggers are around. In a moment I'm gonna stop. I just want to check the tires and everything, check the kayaks on the roof. Pretty bumpy here, but I think we're gonna make it all the way through this road. Got another 93 kilometers to go. And I like the mile markers are lining up perfectly with Google Maps. I hear a screeching sound. I think I got a rock in the brake rotor guard. It's happened before. It's not a big deal. Look at this. They're just starting up for the morning. Give them a wave if they look over. They could care less. They didn't even take a peek over. There's a log in the road. Boom, boom. In a moment I'm gonna stop. I think that's what I heard. I heard a like a screeching sound. I think I got a brake or a rock in the brakes. Look at that. There's a gigantic bull moose in the road. Look at that. Yeah, take a picture of it. Oh, I got a few good stills. Oh, it's gone, it's gone, it's gone. But thankfully it didn't run away. It posed for us a little bit. Big moose. Going over a bridge. The noise I am hearing could also be the wheel bearings. I've had them screech before when we've gone through water, but it's always resolved itself without having to replace anything. One time it screeched for hundreds of miles, but then it eventually just stopped. And that was probably almost 100,000 miles ago. So it'll probably eventually stop. We just gotta wait for some oil to lubricate back into it again. Look at that, look at my tire marks. They just stopped and I just backed up. We're the first vehicle since they graded. I'm stopping for a quick bathroom break, and I'm also gonna take a look at these culverts. I see a stream and the water over here looks pretty high. Could be a blockage out here. Feels nice. Just hit 50 degrees, 10 Celsius. So this is the Beaver trail right here that I'm following down. And they have a culvert made of wood. I've seen these at old railroads before, but I've never seen one on the logging roads. And it's blocked 100%. It's gonna be a bad blockage. I knew there was gonna be a blockage as soon as I saw elevated water, especially during drought. It's been a drought out, and it's probably a good culvert. I smell creosote. Oh, the beaver's angry. The beaver's here. There he is. Look at that. Posing for the camera. Getting some nice pictures of them. Before I even saw him, I heard a big splash of the tail. And this is the beaver's trail going up and down. Wow, that water's actually super duper clear. This beaver's not afraid of me. Not at all. It's actually pretty close. But this is it. And the logging company is on to this guy. Look at this reinforced thing they have. They just put a chain around that part with an excavator, lift it up. They have something in place. They're used to this thing blocking up. This guy must do it all the time, and they're used to it. See, you could tell it was elevated right there in the grass. See how close he'll let me get. Look at this. You can see his little prints in the mud, freshly smearing all this. And here's the end of the pipe, right in here. That's a big, big pipe under there. Fresh smears. Wow, look how close he is in this super clean water. Getting some actually good photographs of him. Really clear water. And I see fencing down here, old beaver deceivers. It's been a problem for a while, but they'll pick this thing up really easily. Let it go. All right, goodbye, beaver. This one really had no fear. Now that we pulled the car up, the beaver's swimming far, far away. He's afraid of the car. Way out there now. Up here on the edge of the road, you see water into the road. Is the road just sinking? Or is this beaver related, raising all this water up? We just went over the culvert pipe, but it's even on both sides. So that one wouldn't be clogged. We drove over a few clogged ones that were very, very bad. There's actually a lot of beaver issues on this road. For it being so dry, they're retaining a lot of the water on these streams. I'm just not going to show every single one of them because there's so many. Does anyone know what these are? We found these out on the logging roads. Alright, here's another one I want to stop at, see if we can do anything about it. There's quite a few beaver issues on this road. That's a brand new metal pipe. That nice pink granite. What do we got here? Pretty fresh beaver dam. Wouldn't be a hard one to get rid of, but what makes it more difficult is they have both ends of the pipe blocked. The entrance, which means if you start picking that one away, it's going to flood the pipe because there's another one here. If you start picking this one here, it's going to become a problem because you don't have a lot of water pressure to help you get it out of there. This might be just left over from the last unclogging though. Yeah, this is not reinforced at all by beavers, so if we unclog this, this one here would actually go down considerably fast. Alright, let's get the rake out. Wow, look at all this stuff the logging company's been pulling out of this culvert. And back there, that's the beaver lodge. Huge, bigger than a car. I think I just saw a bald eagle take off with a fish. It's another wooden pipe. Wow, I like the way this is designed. The end of the pipe is open so the excavator can grab it really easily, put it up there. So this must be 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5 uncloggings, I would say. And look, the beaver's almost got it up to the water line again. Huge, huge beaver lodge in the background. And right there you can see where it floods across. Look at that, the beavers even built a dam coming out into the road, trying to block the road off like I showed at the beginning of the video. And here you can see the logging company pulled some stuff out of here. They don't reuse stuff. Beavers will not reuse. That might be a beaver lodge over there, or it might just be where they place debris. The way it's put there, it looks like a beaver lodge. Might be a beaver lodge the way it is. Yeah, they have serious beaver problems on this road. And did I just find myself a snack? I think I see some ripe raspberries. Yes, I do. Look at that. Found myself a snack right here. Yum. Got another one. Yum. This part of the road's pretty cool. Look at this. The road just turns into a beach right into the water.